Hello, this is Zach, and in this video I will be surviving 50 days in Minecraft Bedrock Edition. So without further ado, let's get started. Like usual, the first thing I'm going to do is punch this tree for some wood. After I got the wood, I made my first wooden pickaxe. Using the pickaxe, I got exactly 3 cobblestone. I needed exactly 3 to make a stone pickaxe in order to make the process of gathering stone faster. Using the cobblestone I got, I made a sword, an axe, and a shovel, and of course a hoe. And right after that, I made a boat. I'm going to use this boat to travel and find a suitable area to start. It was really fun using the boat on ice, but my fun ended shortly and I sailed into the ocean. After a while of traveling, I found some sugarcane. I'm going to need this to make books for enchanting. I took the sugarcane and I started exploring the area. While exploring, I found some sheep. I unalived them for the wool and their meat. I got 3 pieces of wool, made a crafting table, and then my first bed. I didn't like its color, so I quickly dyed it magenta. While trying to sleep, a zombie tried to attack me. This was our first zombie, but don't worry, I easily dealt with it. I grabbed the sugarcane that was in the area. Then I went to sleep. And the next morning, I traveled a lot until I found a beautiful hill with a river by it. And there was some sugarcane that I took. This place was really nice. So I wanted to settle and build my first house in here. There was also a donkey there, which was like a sign for me somehow. I don't know. I placed my bed to reset my respawn point. Then next to it, I put my crafting table to claim the land. Then the next thing I did was gather some seeds. I needed food and I needed food fast. Using some wood I had and a boat, I cooked some meat I had. Then I immediately started making a temporary farm. This was going to be a wheat farm for the cows and sheep when I found some. Then right after that, I planted my sugarcane. I'm going to need a lot more sugarcane to make paper to make books. Then I spent the rest of the day gathering wood. There was a forest nearby that I completely destroyed. I kept gathering wood all day until nightfall. Then I fought my second zombie, which had full gold armor. After I killed it, it dropped the armor and an iron ingot. I wore the armor real quick, then I fought another zombie. Next thing I did was make a shield. But later on, I will realize that the shield is useless. I needed coal to cook my food, so I found a cave nearby and I went in. Lucky for me, I found the coal I needed. Then I also gathered some materials to build my first house. I also mined some cobblestone that I'm going to need later. After I finished mining the cobblestone, I went outside to chop as much wood as possible. I was going to need this type of wood to build my first house. I did that all day until nightfall again. And when I was coming back, some monsters spawned, including a witch, skeletons, zombies, and spiders. The witch was easy to kill, but the skeleton was the hardest. And I was almost going to die to the skeleton, and the poison from the witch didn't help. Luckily, I ate some pork chops I had and ran away fearing for my life. The only possible solution was to sleep far away. I couldn't sleep in my bed. It kept saying that there were monsters nearby. I took my bed and I went far away from the monsters. Then I slept the night away. On the next day, I started working on an outline of my house. And as you can see, this process was really painful. I kept jumping from pillars, which gave me damage. I needed some more materials, so I went back to the caves and I found my first vein of iron. I took my sweet time and I gathered the raw iron. Next to it, there were veins of coal. So I'm going to take that as well. And of course, I found even more iron. After mining all that iron, I went back to the base and started building the walls to the house. I was alternating between blocks to make the walls have a natural texture to them. After finishing with all the walls, I started making holes for windows. Something I do in every build of mine. Right after that, I made my first iron pickaxe and I finally moved all my items inside the house and now I was ready to start building. I began with the floor. Again, I alternated between blocks to give it a texture. I used a bunch of blocks and some birch wood. You may not like it, but I think it was looking really nice. Then right after that, I went farming. I gathered as much sugarcane as I need. Then I planted all of it by the river. I'm going to need good enchants if I want to advance in this world. I also got some wheat I had planted earlier. Then I went inside the house to make fences. I'm going to need some sheep and cows. I started building a place for the animals using the fences. Then, using the wheat, I lured some sheep and cows inside. At the end of the day, I had one cow and I needed another one. So on the following day, I got one more cow. I lured it inside and I bred them. Now, I'm going to have a nice source of leather to make books for enchanting. To continue building my house, I needed a glass, so I found a patch of sand nearby in the river and I took all of it. I smelted the sand to make glass. Unfortunately, I didn't have coal, so I used the wood I had. I made a door to feel safe and secure inside my house, and to feel even more safe, I needed a roof. So I used some slabs and trapdoors. I alternated between them to give the roof a beautiful texture, and I was actually happy with the results. After the glass melted, I made glass panes and I started working on the windows. Now I can feel safe and I can actually see on the outside to avoid the dangers of the night. Inside the house, it was really dark, so I made some torches and I lit up the area. I also put more torches on the outside to stop monsters from spawning. And every time I got a chance, I fed my cows and sheep. The next thing I did was work on my storage. I needed to separate wood items, stone items, and farming materials. That's how I usually organize my storage. Later on, I discovered something really interesting about Minecraft Bedrock Edition. Emotes. Yeah, that's right. I was able to clap. That was really nice. I needed some food, so I explored around the area and unalived a lot of animals I found. And now since I have food, I am able to explore the caves even further. I went down to the caves and I started my own mine. I started digging down to level -59, then I started strip mining. It took me some time and I even broke my first pickaxe. I had to use a stone one till I actually found a vein of diamonds. These were my first diamonds. I went back to grab another iron pickaxe and I didn't make just one. I made plenty to continue my mining session and I finally got the diamonds. The vein was small and I got only 4 diamonds. After mining for a while, I found even more diamonds, but unfortunately, I didn't have fortune, which sucked. I kept mining until I found a cave. I explored it for more diamonds, and I almost died to lava. I fell into lava, and I thought this was going to be over. I'm going to die, and I'm going to lose all my diamonds and all my stuff. But luckily, I survived. I went back home and made my first diamond pickaxe. I'm going to need it to mine something really important, like obsidian. After that, I did some work on the sugarcane farm. I grabbed as much sugarcane as I can, then I went to a nearby ravine to try to find some resources. Unfortunately, I was only able to find coal. While exploring, I found a huge cave with tons of iron. I grabbed as much iron as I can, then I found out the hard way that the shield is useless in Minecraft Bedrock Edition. I actually need to crouch for the shield to be usable. Well, I found out the hard way when 2 skeletons were shooting at me from a distance. It was really weird for me using the shield like this. So I had to get them to fight each other to make the process easier for me. Then I kept mining the iron around the cave. Deep inside this cave, I found even more diamond. The cave was massive, but unfortunately, it didn't have a lot of loot. This was the only good vein I was able to find. After this adventure, I went back home. I realized that I needed wood, so I got some wood to use for smelting. I realized that I haven't explored around the area, so I made a boat and I started having fun on ice. Later that night, I found a village. I think this was my first village in this world. It was nighttime and I was afraid of monsters spawning, so I went straight to bed. In the morning, I was greeted by a stray, so I had to get rid of it quickly. Then I continued looting the village. They had some potatoes and a lot of spruce wood. I was happy to actually find wood so easily. I even took all their wheat to feed my cows. Next to the village, there was an igloo. I went inside for the golden apple and the potion of weakness. I took the golden apple, but I kept the potion to maybe use another day. I explored around the village to see if I could find anything useful. I found a cave with some iron and some coal, which I took. And while exploring, I found a skeleton spawner. I wrote down the coordinates and I started a battle with them. Luckily for me, I had my shield, but it was really difficult. Dealing with the spiders, the skeletons, and the creepers was frustrating. I was down to a heart and a half, and I thought I was going to die here. But since skeletons are stupid, I let them fight each other until there was only one left. Inside the chest I found a name tag, I'm going to use later of course. I kept exploring the area even further, and I found more iron and some lapis. Deeper inside the cave, I found some more diamonds. I felt like everything was easy in this game. I kept exploring and searching for more diamonds. I found some, but a nearby creeper almost ended the journey. Monsters kept coming at me and I kept fighting back. The cave had only 2 small veins of diamonds, so I had to strip mine inside the cave and I found tons of diamonds. When I finished mining, I went outside to be greeted by a thunderstorm. The weather was really beautiful. It was snowing and it felt really nice. I actually love the snow in Minecraft. And when I got home, I started flexing my diamonds. Of course, I'm flexing the diamonds on you. So yeah, you should really consider liking the video. Using the diamonds, I made a full set of diamond armor, and of course, I made a full set of diamond tools, except for the hoe. The only thing I'm going to need right now is leather. I need to make an enchanting table. So I started farming to feed my cows, but still, that wasn't enough. So I went on an adventure to get as much leather as possible. I found a ruined nether portal on my journey, which I looted. Then I took all the obsidian. I continued my journey to kill more cows. I felt really bad about killing this horse, but I really need the leather. I even found another village, which of course I looted and took all their stuff. And for some reason, the game wasn't spawning enough cows. So I traveled a long way only to get few pieces of leather. I went back home and the first thing I did was feeding the cows. Using the leather and paper I had, I was able to make some bookshelves, and I accidentally made a painting. I placed the painting on the wall and it was looking nice. Then I made a stairway to the second floor of my house. I made sure to make the stairs look nicer. Then I continued working on the second floor. Of course, I would feed my cows every now and then. And at the same time, I was adding more details to the house to make it look better. I placed the enchantment table, then the bookshelves around it. But still, I needed more. To fix this problem of leather shortage, I'm going to need a lot of cows. After feeding the cows, I went back inside and made some storage. While working on the house, I heard a trading villager outside, so I went to say hi to him. I got the leather by killing the llamas, and I even got 2 leads. I had an idea to fix my problem. I made a fletching table, and I went to the nearby village at the igloo to cure the zombie villager. I wanted to sell him sticks for emeralds, then buy bookshelves from a librarian. But unfortunately, it looked like their trades were locked in, so they can't change their professions. That's something I didn't know. Later that evening, I wanted to try sleeping in the igloo, but a stray interrupted my sleep. But I easily got rid of him. In the following morning, I decided to use the villagers. I'm going to make a fletcher and the librarian. I will sell the fletcher sticks and buy bookshelves from the librarian. Everything was going nicely, and when I needed sticks, I started chopping down their houses. For some reason, I felt like Java villagers were smarter. And after a long time, I was able to get only 3 bookshelves. So I went back home, fed my cows, and I realized the baby cows weren't growing at all. What's happening? Why don't you grow? I placed down the bookshelves near the enchanting table, and I was a step closer to level 30. I used up all my papers, so I farmed more sugarcane. A drown was being really annoying nearby. I killed the drown and it dropped a trident. Right after that, another drown spawned with a trident. So, I got his trident too. I had an idea. I will go to the nether for the leather. So I mined a small area to build my nether portal. I built the portal using the obsidian I got earlier. I activated the portal and went inside. It was a nice location, a crimson forest. Immediately, I started killing these pig-like creatures. I don't know their names. I killed a bunch of them for the meat and of course the leather. I even mined some quartz to get some XP. Then I got back home and I went straight to bed. For me, the nether was traumatizing. And the next morning, I said hello to my cows. I only needed a few pieces of leather to finish my enchanting setup. And I left the baby cows for food. I made the last 2 bookshelves I needed. I grabbed some lapis and I was really excited to start enchanting. I only took a sneak peek because I realized I don't have enough XP. I need to make an XP farm. I searched my whole storage for the 2 leads I had earlier. Then I realized I had forgotten them in the village. I'm going to need them for a special project. And to do this, I need to make a long trip to find the savannah. I got some food with me and I started going in a direction I never been before. While exploring, I found another ruined nether portal. I looted the portal and kept exploring, and after what seems like an eternity, I finally found the savannah biome. And in the corner of my eye, I saw what I was looking for, an armadillo. I was really worried that the lead wouldn't work on it, but it worked. This was such a relief. Now it's going to be easy to bring them back to the base. I waited for some time till another one spawned, and I started the journey of going back home. I need to be really careful. This is going to be a long, tedious process, and I was really lucky because I was able to use the lead on them while using the boat. On my way back, we faced many challenges, including this skeleton. I was really worried that it might kill the armadillos by mistake. And I finally got rid of it. After a long time of traveling back home, I made a hole for them to stay in temporarily. I put them in the hole and now it's time to start gathering resources for the XP farm. But before I do that, I made some spruce fences and I quickly made a pen for the armadillos to stay in. After I put them in the pen, I needed spider eyes to breed them. Luckily, I have some in my chest. But the most resources I needed took some time gathering. I started by gathering wood, then I needed a 3rd trident. I already had 2 of them earlier and the 3rd one was really hard to get. The XP farm I'm going to build uses a potion of infestation. So, to gather the materials that I needed, I had to go to the nether. But the most important item I need to find in the overworld is the 3rd trident. So I took the rest of the day searching for drowns to drop one. It took me for a long time and for some reason the recordings corrupted because the files were getting huge, like 100 gigabytes, and I don't have enough space. So yeah, I'm sorry, but I will link where I got this design from. And I was able to eventually finish the XP farm. Now I only needed the resources from the nether. I went to the nether and I searched for a fortress. I needed nether warts to start brewing. While searching, I found the fortress sticking out. It was really crazy, and I just found this by chance, believe it or not. I went inside and I was immediately greeted by a skeleton. I got rid of it fast and I found a blaze spawner. I said hello to them, and for some reason, fighting the blaze in Bedrock edition was really easy than doing it in Java edition. All I had to do was hit them 3 times with my sword. I admit it, sometimes I thought I was going to die, but I didn't, and that's what counts. After a long time of blaze farming, I got enough blaze rods for brewing and for the end portal when I'm going to fight the ender dragon. And I actually love the idea that there's no cooldown on your sword, and every hit is powerful. I searched everywhere for nether warts, and I was finally able to find some in the chest. But this is not enough. I searched everywhere in the fortress and I finally found some. I grabbed the nether warts and I also grabbed the soul sand to farm them instead of coming back every time I needed some. After taking all the resources I need, I started my journey heading back home. It took me some time, but I got there in one piece. When I got home, I immediately started brewing. I placed down the brewing stand, I made some blaze powder, I put it in a brewing stand, and I started brewing a potion of infestation. I knew I was going to need more nether warts, so I immediately made a temporary farm for nether warts using the soul sand and the rest of the nether warts I had. I turned on the XP farm and threw the splash potion of infestation, and immediately it started working. Even though I have what I need, 30 levels of XP, I'm going to need a lot more for enchanting all my gear. The XP farm worked wonderfully, and I got a lot of levels from just throwing one splash potion. After that, I immediately went to start enchanting. At first try, I got a god pickaxe. I needed a grindstone, so I made it quickly using one of the stone slabs I had. I started fully enchanting all of my gear, and these were all the enchantments I got. I got a silk touch pickaxe and a fortune 3 pickaxe. I got a sharpness 4 sword, a good pickaxe, and a nice shovel. Then I started enchanting my armor. I had feather falling 4 and protection 4 on all of my gear. And now that I have enchanted armor and enchanted tools, I went to sleep very happy. And in the next morning, I started working on the base. I made the cliff from the river to the house look nicer. I removed all the gravel and sand. I replaced them with dirt. I have also splashed some dirt with water to turn it into mud to make it look realistic. I also spread out the mud to make it look like it was spreading near the house. Then I decided to give the cliff some texture using deep slate cobblestone. I made paths from the house to other places in the area using a shovel. Then I made stairs leading up to the river to my house. I added walls to make the stairs look nicer, and I removed the temporary wheat farm. I've also moved the animals down near the river, but still I don't feel safer yet. I'm going to need to build a wall around the area, and to do that I'm going to need wood, a lot of wood. I decided to go to gather as much wood as I can. After gathering all the wood I needed, I made pillars using spruce wood. I'm going to make the wall using deep slate cobblestone. This should keep all the monsters outside my area. Luckily, I had cobblestone from mining diamonds earlier, and I used them around the base. Next thing I did was work around the nether portal. I used netherrack I got from the nether, of course, and I made it spread out to the river and make it seem like it was spreading from the nether and infesting the overworld. I also used nether bricks and it was looking really nice. I was happy with the final results. To make things look even more nicer, I used my silk touch pickaxe and got more materials from the nether. And I finally got some crimson trees and I planted them near the portal. Next thing I needed to do was make a wheat farm for my animals. So I started working on a 4x4 farm using a hoe I found earlier in a ruined nether portal. I planted wheat. I've also planted the potatoes I found in the village. I needed to remove the temporary netherwort farm because it was ugly. When I leave the house, the first thing I see are the stairs leading down to the river. And on the right, you will see the nether portal spreading into the overworld. Then my farms, all the way over there. The mud here is spreading from the river, and there is my animal pen. And if you go upstairs, you will see my house unfinished. Then you will see the wall around the base. Inside the base, there was a horse. I don't know how it got here, but you're welcome, horse, just stay here. There's my XP farm and finally the netherwort farm. Now I needed to work on the second floor of my house, and like the first floor, I used wood to outline how the house is going to be. But I needed more wood, so I went straight to the nearby forest and got as much wood as I needed, and finally I continued on the outline of the second floor. This was the result. Now I'm just gonna need to put a roof over my head. I decided to use deep slate cobblestone for the roof. After finally building the shape I want as a roof, I finished the whole roof. It took me some time. It took me a lot more time than it should have, because I am not a builder, but I was finally happy with the end result. I needed to set up the enchantment room on the second floor, but to do that I needed materials. I needed lapis to be exact, so I went to the mines. I got myself a lot more diamonds now that I have Fortune 3, and I found a hack. If you stay just far away from the block you're mining, you can mine it faster, and using this method I was able to find some lapis lazuli. And when I got home with all the materials I have, as you can see, I organized my stuff, and for some reason I've made 30 crafting tables. I was really upset, but oh well, I'm going to use them to smelt stuff. I was finally ready to finish the second floor. I placed the bookshelves around the enchantment table and the grindstone. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm getting ready to fight the Ender Dragon. I have made 2 bows and they were really powerful. Power 4 and Infinity, which was really nice. I combined them to make a god bow. Then I continued working on the roof of the house to make it look better. After finishing with all of that, I needed to decorate the interior of the house. Before killing the Ender Dragon, I need to finish my house completely. I placed trap doors as holders of the chest, and I put the painting in its perfect place. Then I continued working on the house. I used campfire to decorate around the house. I put off the fire and this was the end result. I used fences as support to make it look good. Then I needed to organize my inventory. I'm not going to live like this. I took my time and organized my whole inventory. The house was dark, so I used lanterns to light up the house, and finally, to finish off the base, I have made pathways leading to important places. And this was the inside of the base. It looked really nice and I was happy with it. And to fight the Ender Dragon, I'm going to need pearls. So I got myself a lot of XP to make a looting 3 sword. I'm going to need a lot of ender pearls. After I got the XP I needed, I was able to get a looting 3 sharpness 4 sword. I combined the swords to make a better one and I went inside the nether. I figured the best place to get ender pearls is the green forest biome in the nether. That's where endermen spawn. I searched for a long time and finally I was able to find some. I made a boy to trap the endermen, but unfortunately I don't think they drop pearls like this. Well, at least that's what happened to me. But it was really easy to fight them with my protection 4, and they dropped plenty of pearls. After I finished, I started heading back home when this happened. Yeah, I was nearly going to die, but I didn't. When I got home, the first thing I did was throw my first ender eye to find the stronghold. And believe it or not, the stronghold was under the village. Yes, the village that's near the base. That's where the stronghold was. I started digging down immediately until I found it. I looked for a long time and I was able to find the library inside. But I don't need anything from it. I'm just going to go and fight the Ender Dragon. When I found the portal room, I set my spawn point there, and I made a chest and put all the stuff I'm going to need later. Then, I jumped in. The Ender Dragon in this edition of Minecraft is really stupid. It's really easy, like, there was no challenge. The crystals were easy to destroy, and the dragon kept pushing every 10 seconds. After hitting the Ender Dragon for some time, I was finally able to kill it. But for some reason all the XP went inside the portal. So yeah, that's just wasted XP. I got the egg and I was finally able to finish 50 days in Minecraft's Bedrock edition. Thanks for watching. Bye.